time for the Michael Huddleston Show on HuddRadio.com.
I appreciate your input.
832-699-0110 is the number you can call. You can also like us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/HuddRadio. Really quickly to get this one out of the way before anybody asks, I'm not going to this time talk about the Aurora, Colorado theater shooting. It is a very sad thing, and so I don't want anybody to think that I don't think that is sad, but it does not to the degree that it is being talked about deserve to be talked about. And the reason I say that is simply this, that these kind of things are tragic. They're sad. And the numbers keep going up. And I'm positive that they're going to keep going up, which makes it even more sad that more people have to die innocently. However, stuff like this happens all the time. And it happens all the time in areas like the 3rd and the 5th Ward in Houston. It happens in San Antonio. It happens in Austin, and it happens in Dallas, and it happens in Chicago, and Boston, and Miami, and Los Angeles. And it happens all the time. And while it happens all the time, it does not make it any less upsetting. But these things happen all the time. There were 13 killed in a Chicago club on the south side of Chicago 2 weeks ago, and you didn't hear the media say anything about it. Now, what was different than those 13 people getting killed and the 15 people that got killed in Colorado? Was it because the majority of the people in the 13 people that were killed in Chicago black? Or was it because the majority of the 15 people that were killed in Aurora, Colorado white? I don't know. But while it is sad, and while I agree that people need to cope and have time to process this and figure out the best solution, at the same time, I don't think this deserves the 24-hour media blitz that it's getting. So moving on from that, and that will be the last that you hear from me on that topic. Moving on from that, there is a growing group of people out there who believe that the Obama administration, the 2008-2012 administration, is different than the socialist platform. Well, this is what we want to talk about today. I want to compare the 2008-2012 Obama campaign, and I have 5 topics and 5 pieces of legislation that he passed and that the Congress passed during that time, and we're going to compare it to the Socialist Party. So, getting underway, the Affordable Care Act. That's the most notable one, most talked about one, and the most argued about one. And lots of people say that it's a socialist act, that it provides for everyone, whether you contribute to society or not. And if you look at the socialist platform, the USA Socialist Party platform, which you can find at their website, socialistparty-usa.org. And you can go there, and on the left side, under About Us, you can click the platform, and you can follow along at home. And you will find under a section called Production for Use, Not Profit. And here's what it says. It says, in a socialist system, the people own and control the means of production and distribution through democratically controlled public agencies, cooperatives, or collective groups. The primary goal of the economic activity is to provide the necessities of life, including food, shelter, healthcare, education, childcare, cultural opportunities, and social services. These social services include care for the chronically ill persons with mental disabilities, the infirm and the aging, the infirming and the aging. There should be a period there. Planting takes place at the community, regional, and national levels and is determined democratically with the input of workers, consumers, and to the public to be served. So, the Affordable Care Act. Let's if you've been hiding under a rock and you haven't been listening to our program, I'll explain it to you in a nutshell so we don't waste too much time on it. The Affordable Care Act is an act that is now a tax that says you have to have health care insurance. If you do not have health care insurance, then you will have to pay a tax and a fine that increases based on each year. It is basically forcing consumers who, what doesn't matter who you are, what you do, you have to participate. You have to have insurance. You have to buy from somebody. And if you don't buy from the government, then we're going to make it harder on your life. Moving on from that. That compares to the socialist platform of production for use, not profit. See, socialists believe that there is a collective group, and that is everybody that's living here. And that there is a second group of people who are the people who rule the land. And there is a belief that everything that is done, all the production, all the farming in this world, all the work that is done, whether it's private or public, whether it is through entitlements, like what we call them, everything needs to be done for the good of everybody. So if I work 2 jobs and I have a business on my own, now I'm working not for myself but for everybody else's benefit too. Basically, you didn't do it on your own, is what we're talking about. That I started a business in April of 2012. It was this radio show. So under the Socialist Society platform, this radio show, my business, the money that I take from advertising and whatnot, should be used for the benefit of everybody, whether I know that person or not, whether I care about that person or not, and whether that person is working or not. And that's not right. I have a radio show. I've worked hard at this radio show. I have put lots of hours into developing the technology, to deciding on technology, to purchasing things out of my own pocket, because we don't have an income yet. But if you're wanting to give me some income through advertising, let me know. And I do it because A, I have a passion for what I'm talking about. And B, I want to make some money off of it. I mean, you don't start a business without wanting to make money. The Socialist Party believes that everything you do, including this Affordable Health Care Act, is done for the betterment of people and that everybody contributes to it and everybody benefits from it. So I go back to an old comparison that I've used before. If you're a doctor and you are walking down the road and you see an injured person, take the Hippocratic Oath out of the situation. Does the doctor have to go render that person aid? Again, take the Hippocratic Oath out. Is that person liable, or is that person forced to use their education, their studies, their equipment, which they all purchase with their money, to help that person? And the answer would be no, again, if you're taking the Hippocratic Oath out of the situation. If I have a car, and I'm driving down the road, I can A, pick up the panhandler and take him wherever he needs to go, or B, I can continue driving. In either way, it's my choice, because it's my car that I bought with my money. It's my money that paid for the gasoline to go into that car, and nobody else can tell me what I can do with my property. Again, the Affordable Care Act is similar to the Socialist Party, because it tells people you have to participate in this and you have to contribute to this, and it's going to benefit people who don't contribute as much as you do. An increase in entitlements, if that's what you want to call it. How about just an increase in welfare is what we'll call it, is equal to the platform when they talk about having the right to full employment. Full employment says under welfare capitalism, and you could stop right there and know that this is bad. The first 3 words of that sentence, under welfare capitalism, a reserve pool of people is kept undereducated, underskilled, and underemployed, largely along racial and gender lines to exert pressure on those who are employed on in organized labor. The employed pay for this knife that capitalism holds at their throats by being taxed to fund welfare programs to maintain underemployed and their children. In this way, the working class is divided against itself, with those with jobs and those without are separated by resentment and fear. In socialism, full employment is realized for everyone who wants to work. So, if you continue to read everything else that's on this website, their whole official platform party, nothing talks about the fact that you have to work to survive. It just says, we're here for the betterment of the people. We're here for the betterment of those who want to do things, who want to do this, who want to do that. And again, the section about full employment. For the people who want to work, they want equality. But what about the people who don't want to work? Well, that's where it comes into welfare. The increased entitlements. There are more people today that go on disability than there are that find jobs. 1 in 4 Americans is on food stamps. Now, those numbers have just dramatically shot through the roof in the past years. And it's not because we force those people to. It's because people choose to do that. Now, how do you get to that point, Michael? Well, here's what I'm talking about. By continuing to tax people out of their minds and making it to where you feel like you tell these people that you have to keep funding these entitlement programs through your tax dollars because we want to put food in people's mouths, and CHIP helps children stay educated and stay fed, and then TANF gives homes to those who can't afford it. Well, all you're doing is telling somebody that they don't have to work, they don't have to try, they don't have to get out of bed in the mornings because the government will give them what they need. For those who want to work, well, everything has to be level. Everybody gets paid the same. Everybody has the same job description. There's no gender discrimination. There's no race discrimination, which is all crap if you believe that, because there will always be those things because people are sinful. However, to sit here and say that an increased entitlements is nothing more than funding the people who need it is wrong, because there have been needy people in this country for years, and we've had the same message every time, and it's been find a way to make it work. If you don't have a job, create a job. If you don't have a job because you're lazy, well, then shame on you. It goes into the argument of bringing back shame in this country, because we just don't have any shame in this country for anything. There's no such thing as shame. You got fired because you're lazy. Oh, well, you'll find something else. Don't worry, here's some food stamps. The idea of private business. Okay, Mr. Obama came out in a campaign speech and said that if you own a business, you didn't do it on your own. And there's been lots of interpretations of it. There's been lots of people that have said that was taken the wrong way. But the truth of the matter is that President Obama does not believe that you did anything on your own. That you had to have you had to have the government's help to do it, because you are gifted to live in this country because the government says you can, which is wrong. And that goes into the worker and community control section of the platform of the Socialist Party, which says democracy in daily life is the core of our socialism. Public ownership becomes a fraud if decisions are made by distant bureaucrats and authoritarian managers. In socialist society, power resides in worker-managed and cooperative enterprises. Community-based cooperatives help provide the flexibility and innovation required in a dynamic socialist economy. Workers have the right to form unions freely and to strike and engage in forms of job actions. Worker and community control makes it possible to combine life at work, home, and a community into a meaningful whole for adults and children. Girls and boys are encouraged to grow up to be able to choose freely the shape of their lives and work without gender and racial stereotyping. All right. There's a lot wrong with this statement, and a lot of it is at the beginning. Public ownership becomes a fraud if decisions are made by distant bureaucrats, authoritarian managers. This is, yes, a shot at outsourcing, but this is also a shot at the business owner. If you have a business, your goal for business is to expand, to make more money, to make yourself more money, to grow your business. Bank of America. You open a bank, you have branches, you spread throughout the state of Virginia, then you expand to West Virginia and Maryland and North Carolina and Kentucky, Tennessee. Then you keep spreading west, and you keep spreading north and south and east, or and west, until you've covered the entire country, and you've got a headquarters in New York or Boston or wherever. And you can't be everywhere at one time. That's why you have branch managers and people doing things to manage your business, because you can't be everywhere at one time. Big business and big ideas are what drive this economy. It's what drives the American way of life. If socialists do not believe in that. Socialists believe that business is here for the person that works there, and there's no other service for it. If you're rich, you cheated somehow. That's not what Americans believe. If you're an American, you don't believe that. If you're an American, you believe in what John F. Kennedy said in 1962. And John F. Kennedy in 1962 said, ask not what you can do for your country, or ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. He also said that in 8 years, he wanted us to put a man on the moon. And in 1969, we did it. And we did it not because we had government coming in and controlling what people did, what NASA did, what private contractors at Boeing and all these other places did to help build the Apollo and the Gemini and the Mercury programs. The government said, we've built NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Now, we've told you, you have 8 years to put a man on the moon. You're starting from square one. You've never built a rocket. You've never been to space. So you've got 8 years to go from square one to putting a man on the moon. And we did it. And we didn't do it because the government was directing the show. We did it because the government was saying, here's what you need to be successful. Go out and do it. And lots of private companies came together to accomplish that goal. It wasn't just one government directing everything and having total control over everything. And for those people who say that I just vote for everybody that's a Republican, you're wrong. Because if I had the chance to vote for Kennedy in 1961, I'd do it. And I would do it every single time. Because while John F. Kennedy had some things that were encased in a ball of wax, he believed in the American and their ability to achieve, their ability to think, and their ability to be successful. And that's something that we don't have in our government today. I'm running out of time, so I'll keep going through this a little bit faster. Free contraception goes into the social feminism part of the socialist belief, and it says social feminism confronts the common root of sexism, racism, and classism. The determination of a life of oppression or privilege based on accidents of birth or circumstances. Socialist feminism is an inclusive way of creating social change. We value synthesis and cooperation rather than conflict and competition. Socialists believe that life is a thing, not a privilege. The socialist platform believes that everything is just here. You're just here. Your business is here for society. Your life is here for society. Your religion is here for society, but it kind of gets in the way of everything that we're trying to accomplish. Your children are here for society. And that there are too many people here, and if you want to get an abortion, we're all for it because there's way too many people here in the first place. So, if you're an American and you're just a human being that has a soul, how could you be for abortion, number one? Because abortion promotes the fact that you are A, irresponsible in the first place, or by having sex out of wedlock, by going and getting drunk and then sleeping with some guy that you don't know, and oops, by the way, you're pregnant. And yes, there is the argument that rape and a rape baby, and the fact that if a woman wanted to abort a rape baby, there is that argument at the same time, but it all boils down to one concept. Life is a special and a God-created thing. And it is, each person is unique. And each person has a set of values and morals and ideas and has a brain and has the ability to achieve whatever the heck they want. And it is something that is special and should be held as special, whether it's a rape baby or whether it's not. The socialists do not believe that. And if you have any kind of human dignity, you believe that life is special and that you want to preserve that. By being for abortion and by encouraging abortions, you take away that specialness of life. You brand life as an it, not as a he or a she. Obama stood up for class warfare, has waged class warfare since 2008. And this falls into the number one socialist society platform argument, which is freedom and equality. It says democratic socialism is a political and economic system with freedom and equality for all, so that people may develop their fullest potential in harmony with others. The Socialist Party is committed to full freedom of speech, assembly, press, and religion, and to a multi-party system. We are dedicated to the abolition of male supremacy in class society, so the elimination of all forms of oppression includes those based on race, national origin, race, or age, sexual preference, and disabling condition. Now, some of this is not bad. I have to admit, some of it is not bad. That there is actually a party out there that believes that you can succeed in life. But they go about it all the way around wrong. And so has Mr. Obama. Because there is so many things about life that just aren't fair. Again, slavery was wrong. And it was morally wrong. And we as a country overcame that. But just because you're black and you're white does not mean that you have to be equal because you were slaves. There are people who are lazy and there are people that are hardworking. There are people that come from a Southern background and people that come from a Yankee background. There are people who come from an educated childhood and people who come from an uneducated childhood. Those are things that make us unique. Those are things that determine whether your business is going to be strong or your business is going to be weak. You can't, just because we are all human beings does not mean we are all equal. We work harder, we work lazier. I tend to think I work harder than most people because I have 2 jobs, a wife, 2 animals that I take care of. My wife's in med school, so I have to manage a relationship with my wife who's in med school, have to manage a regular job, and have to come home and manage the radio station as well. So I tend to think I work pretty dang hard at my life. Whereas there are people who have been on unemployment for 99 weeks, and it's not because they can't find a job. It's because they don't want to find a job. Under the socialist platform, though, that we're all equal. And that's wrong. If you work hard, you deserve what you get in life. If you don't work hard, you also deserve what you get in life. And that's the way it should be. And I have gone way over my time limit, but hey, I can do that because it's my radio show. But I want to hear your thoughts, your comments on what we talked about today. You can call us at 832-699-0110. You can also drop us a comment on our Facebook page at facebook.com/HuddRadio. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Join us next time for more of The Michael Huddleston Show. Be sure and check out the Facebook page at www.facebook.com/MHuddRadio.